All right, let's dive right into a really powerful and honestly a potentially life-changing idea, and it's this. The world that you see around you, well, it's actually built by the world inside your head. And the best part? That means you can become the architect of it all.
Okay, let's start with a number that, honestly, it should just stop you in your tracks. Studies show that a staggering 85% of people go to jobs they actively dislike. I mean, just let that sink in for a second. The vast majority of people are spending the best hours of their day every day feeling kind of, well, desperate. This isn't just a small problem, It's pretty much an epidemic.
And, this feeling of being unfulfilled, it's not just in our heads. It has a real physical cost. Get this, one source points out this absolutely startling fact. The most common time for a heart attack is Monday morning, right between 8 and 9 a.m. People are, and I mean this literally, dreading the week ahead so much that it's breaking their hearts.
So what are we talking about here? We're talking about that Monday morning trap, that feeling of being stuck in a life that it doesn't fit, right? And it's so much more than just being unhappy. It's like it eats away at your self-esteem, it chips away at your sense of who you are, and it just creates this deep inner emptiness. Because deep down you were made for more than this.
So the big question is, why? Why do we stay in this trap? I mean, what's the invisible mechanism that keeps us stuck in jobs or relationships or situations that we've clearly outgrown? Well, it turns out it's a really powerful, self-reinforcing cycle. It's like a feedback loop that just runs on autopilot in our mind.
Okay, so let's break down exactly how this feedback loop works. It all starts with step 1, a perception. This is just a belief you hold about yourself or the world. Then that belief creates a feeling. That's step 2, an emotion. And naturally, that feeling then drives your behavior, right? The actions you take. That's step 3. And here's the kicker. Step 4. Those actions create an experience that reinforces your original belief, basically proving you right and starting the whole darn cycle all over again. So what's the fuel that powers this whole negative cycle? It's one simple, powerful thing. Fear. And the sources we're looking at, they call it the most subtle and destructive of all human diseases. And it makes sense, right? It's what kills dreams, it's what kills hope. It just paralyzes you with this belief that this right here is all there is for you, and all you'll ever deserve. But here's a thought. What if that fear isn't even real? This is the key to everything. I love this quote from Zig Ziglar, who put it so perfectly. Fear is just false evidence appearing real. It's not a solid wall in front of you. It's more like a mirage. It's just a story we tell ourselves. And of course, if we're the ones telling the story, well, that means we have the power to write a brand new ending. There's this great story that illustrates this perfectly. It's about a young boy who ran from the same neighborhood dog every single day, but one day he just got tired of running. So he picked up a brick, turned around, and finally faced his fear. And as the dog got closer and closer, he realized something incredible. It had no teeth. And isn't that just it? So many of our fears are just like that dog, all bark and no bite. Okay, so if fear is the lock on the prison door, then what's the key? Well, the solution is this really profound but also deceptively simple shift in how you see things. It's a principle called act as if. Now, this is maybe the most crucial point of all. To change your outer world, you can't start by trying to change the experience. It doesn't work that way. You have to interrupt that cycle we talked about right at the source. You have to change your inner feeling state first. It's about consciously shifting from a feeling of, I don't have it, to a feeling of, I already have it. And you can really see the two paths here, can't you? On one side, you've got the mindset of lack. That's the voice saying, I don't have it, or I'm not worthy, and that just keeps reinforcing the prison. But then look at the other side, the mindset of having. This is the inner feeling that what you want is already a part of your experience. That is what begins to shatter the prison walls and rewrite the entire cycle, from the inside out. Okay, so that's the principle. But I know what you might be thinking. How do I actually do that? How do I feel like I have it when I can look around and clearly see that I don't? Well, this is where you need to become your own booster. You need a personal toolkit for change. And look, this isn't magic. It takes conscious, daily effort. First, you have to start monitoring your self-talk. It's like you're a gardener, and you have to become aware of all the weeds of doubt you're planting in your own mind. Then, you've got to actively plant new seeds using positive affirmations. You don't just sit around and hope for change. You tell yourself, I can do this. It's also so important to find your life's work, even if it's just for 15 minutes a day to feed your soul. And finally, and this is probably the most crucial step of all, you have to take action, even when you're scared. Action is the bridge between your inner world and your outer world.
Now, I get that this might all sound like a simple psychological trick, like think positive and everything will be fine. But the sources we're drawing from suggest it's tapping into something way more fundamental. We're talking about a fascinating parallel between our own consciousness and, believe it or not, the very fabric of reality itself.
Okay, stay with me here. Let's take a quick detour into quantum physics and the famous double-slit experiment. What scientists found, in a nutshell, is that the tiniest particles of matter exist as a wave of pure, infinite potential until someone observes them. The very act of looking at them forces that wave of anything as possible to collapse into one single concrete reality. Now think about that. What if our focused attention, our consciousness, works in the exact same way on the field of possibilities in our own lives?
I know this sounds like something straight out of science fiction, but then you hear about the incredible real-life case of Vittorio Michelli. This man was sent home from the hospital with a disintegrated hip bone, basically nothing there. He bathed in a holy spring, and with just an absolute, unwavering belief that he would be healed, something miraculous happened. His body completely regenerated his hip bone. The doctors had no explanation for it. It was deemed medically impossible.
And this all starts to make a strange kind of sense when you realize a simple biological fact about yourself. You are not a static object. You're a process. Every single year, a whopping 98% of the atoms in your body are replaced with new ones. Think about that. You are literally being rebuilt, moment by moment. So the real question is, who's holding the blueprint? Well, your consciousness is the architect. But let's be real. This path of change, it isn't always easy. In fact, sometimes the most profound transformations don't happen in the moments of joy. They come from our deepest, most difficult struggles.
So what if we looked at these periods of struggle differently? One source offers this really profound way to reframe them. It suggests they aren't failures or even just simple depression. Instead, it's a purposeful process called a dark night of the soul. Think of it like a messenger sent from a deeper part of you. It's a sign that the path you're on just isn't right anymore, and this struggle has arrived to heal you and to guide you towards something new.
So the path forward, then, isn't to fight the darkness. It's not to numb the difficult feelings. It's to just listen, to stay with it, and try to understand the message it's trying to deliver to you. Because hidden inside your deepest fears is the chance to begin again, this time guided by a truer part of yourself.
So when you really think about it, every single challenge, from that awful Monday morning dread all the way to the deepest struggle, it's all a form of communication. It's an opportunity to wake up, to change the blueprint, and to start consciously creating the life you are always meant to live. Your life is sending you a message. The only question left is, are you listening?